Be seated. We'll have a devotion by Commissioner Karen Cheek, and she'll call on someone to pray, and then we'll continue with the meeting. But at this time, if you would, make sure your cell phones are off, or they're cut off, or on vibrate. And if you would, stand, and I'll call the meeting to order, and we'll have the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated.
Good evening, friends. Y'all doing good tonight? We'll try to make this a short one. Our devotional tonight is entitled, Why Blame Others? According to Ephesians 1:4, the Apostle Paul wrote, saying, according as he hath chosen us in him before the foundation of the world, that we should be holy and without blame before him in love. The Houston Chronicle, back in the 60s, when the space program was getting started, wrote an article about this rocket that they sent off, and the rocket just started going crazy, and they had to destroy the thing. And it cost $18 million. And that was a great loss for the space program. And so somebody had to be blamed, or something had to be blamed. So the scientists put their heads together, and they finally realized it was a computer program to blame. It was the computers. It was error. Someone had forgotten in the program to put a little teeny hyphen, a little dash, in some part of that program, and as a result, the rocket was confused and had to be destroyed. And our thing we need to ask ourselves today, when we stop and think about that rocket. You know, the hyphen was what was going to keep it on course and what was going to make it go straight. Ask yourself today, can I be a hyphen? Can I be one that will make this world a better place? You know, we want to blame anything and everything for the condition of our world today. We complain all the time. I'm guilty. Our world, this is a terrible world we live in. We want to blame the politicians, we want to blame the educators, we want to blame the terrorists, we want to blame the government, we want to blame everybody. Well, what if we decided one day not to blame anymore and try instead to make it a better place? Try instead to be that little hyphen, like in that computer program. Maybe we can make, each one of us, just one, can make this world a better place. And when you stop and think about it, that's what we need to do. That's what we've been called to do, because we're to give our best to God in love, and we're to love our neighbor as ourselves. And when you're looking for the good in people, it's hard to see their faults. I want to close with a little poem that's written by Edward V. Wood. I'm sure you've heard this before. It's called The Sermon That Is You. It's one of my favorites. Who can tell what good may come from the little things you do? Who can tell who's listening now to the sermon that is you? Trusting friends to where you go for pleasure and for play. They watch you live throughout the week and hear the things you say. And knowing you're good and strong, their faith in you still stands. They'd sooner take advice from you than any other man. The little children watch you pass, and oft they've heard to say, I want to be just like that man when I grow up someday. So don't think it worth the while to choose your words with care, since little folks around you are watching you everywhere. Don't you think it's much wiser to watch the way you walk, lest tender souls be injured by your careless tread and talk? Who can tell what good may come from the little things that you do? Who can tell who's listening now to the sermon that is you? Brian, would you lead us in prayer?
Dear Lord, we just thank you again for this day and the blessings that came with it. And Lord, we thank you for the rain and the sunshine. We just ask now that you be with us here at this meeting, dear Lord, that we might make decisions that will be in accordance with your will. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen.
Okay, thank y'all for coming to the meeting tonight. We'll start with elected officials and department heads. We have the sheriff here. Sheriff? But you have the floor.
Give you an update on the jail. We moved into, had all inmates into the jail. Had to hire an additional 14 jailers to get it done. I think you were asked what the salaries were. We've got 6 are paid $8.50 an hour. The other 20 are paid $8 an hour. I think it's gonna work out to somewhere around, for the rest of the year, $177,240, somewhere in that neighborhood, to pay all of them. That's the additional thing.
Excuse me, you said you hired 14 jailers?
14 new jailers,
14, so we have 26 total, is that correct?
26 total.
Okay.
So you got
Also
training going on?
Yeah, also, well, it's on the job training.
Right.
Right at this point. Also have Southern Healthcare here. We've got a contract with them to be signed. One of y'all approves it. They may want to come forward and talk. Or they may just want the contract signed.
Okay. Anybody got a question?
I don't have one copy of it. John has gone over it.
I have reviewed the contract. There were some changes we want to do as far as legality of the contract. I believe it is legal. I can't tell you there aren't some changes in your dollar amounts, which probably that's the bottom line if you all not to say that you don't want to know everything else. But of course, you have a legal obligation. Sorry, my own cousins do that to me too. The county does have a legal obligation to provide medical care for inmates that are in the care of the sheriff, actually legally the custody of the sheriff. This doesn't mean they
Care
get,
of the county, a custody of the sheriff.
that doesn't mean they get, plastic surgery, anything like that, just minimum competent health care, including psychiatric care, I believe. But we have had a contract with this group of people for 3 years.
Yeah.
It is changing, the numbers are changing, the dollar amounts are changing, and I don't want to hide the ball from you. I know they were going to look at their dollars and see if there's any way of prorating it, and they were going to talk to the sheriff about that. I don't know what you're looking at. Well, I'll let y'all address the dollars. I won't try to put words in your mouth. But the services are essentially the same, although we are dealing with more people, larger area,
And more nurses.
and more nurses because of the projected increase in prisoner load.
What's our prisoner load now?
There's,
What's the prisoner load now?
as of yesterday evening, there was 81. I don't have today's count, but it's gonna be somewhere in that neighborhood.
Use mic, please.
It may not be on, I don't know.
Yeah,
Does that include those that were boarded out?
yeah. I think we've still got one in Cochran, we're gonna get him, we just need to get settled in on him. Because he's gonna have some other problems.
If I remember right, this contract was up to a certain number. Have we went over that number yet?
You have not, but you will. The new facility will now house 164 inmates. So the new contract is for 165. The sheriff has asked for more nursing, so that the officers will not be responsible for giving any medication. The nurses will now do that.
Okay, I don't think it was you, but the last time you were here, I think the contract stated as long as we stay below the number,
Correct.
that it would be the same. Is that the same deal we have?
Same.
Okay.
Yes, so we made sure it is the number of the capacity for the facility now. So when you do house out for other counties, it's gonna remain they're under the ADP, they're covered.
Okay, until we do, does the price stay the same until we go over the threshold of the additional prisoners?
That is up to the sheriff. They ask for a price for the capacity now. If we wanna do it month to month and see what your facility's gonna hold, we can, but you won't get the increased nursing services until that time.
So is price based then based on full capacity, is that correct?
That's the new contract that we have now.
It's price based on full capacity.
Yes.
But what if we don't have full capacity, you still gonna pay the same price, or is it gonna drop
Yes.
down? No,
You're gonna pay the price of your ADP now and continue the same contract you have, or you can increase, go ahead and do the increase with your increased ADP and, have more nursing services. That's where I think we've kind of discussed getting the officers away from giving the medication or holding them liable for that. It would be on our convenience.
Lynn, at what point do you think we'll need to increase this? Is it this now or is it sometime in the future?
Probably right now, because I'm looking at, in the very near future, going ahead and housing additional inmates to increase the income of the county.
Okay, tell me what the dollar,
I want to get settled in just a little bit with the employees and have them trained what they need to do. And then we'll talk to these other counties about housing some of their inmates.
well, I think it's a good idea not to let the jailers give medication. I think increased nursing would be great. Decreases the county's liability, y'all's liability, the whole 9 yards. That's a wonderful thing. But need to know how much price increase we're talking about over old versus new.
Okay. I'll pass this out.
This seems to be a good bit more than our other contract.
Yes.
Is it based again on population?
It's based on the ADP, yes. And the increased nurse services.
You're assuming then, you base it on the fact, on having, 165 inmates all the time, looks like.
Correct.
And what if we don't? Still same price?
Yes.
One-stop shop type price? So it doesn't change if the population goes down, it still
Right.
stays, it's a level
It's a
thing?
monthly average.
Monthly average, okay. And Sheriff, you are anticipating getting that thing full so that this contract will not eat us alive?
The housing for other, I'm looking at probably around 40 inmates with having 20 beds floating there. They're gonna be occupied at some point by the day-to-day operations, more than likely, but I can't say positively.
How much did you plan on charging per day for these additional 40 that we're gonna house?
We were paying $35 a day. It all depends on the services that we offer. We may can go up a little on that bed space because of the nursing staff.
Well, 40 and 81, that still leaves you 40 short. Where'd the rest of the beds coming in?
Well, we may increase it to 60. We've got enough counties around that are looking for bed space, plus there's some additional, the state are looking to house some parolees, I'm told, and if we can work several different ways, and actually within the next 2 months or so, we should know whether we'll use mostly state or county.
But we still need to house a lot more than, to me, we need to house, if we're gonna have a contract that's based on 165, we need to house at least 150 all the time.
Yes.
At least. If it's gonna be viable and it's gonna be worth our while.
Well, there's enough, I believe, need in the surrounding counties that I think we can find occupants for the beds.
And if we need to renegotiate that at any time, we will. If he sees that he's not gonna hold that many, he's not gonna have that, and we're averaging at 150, we will bring a new contract. We're not gonna keep charging you at that.
That's what's gonna wonder, what's this contract, what's the term, the loan?
Yeah, we'll renegotiate, sure. And it even says in the contract that he has a clause to get out of the contract, and then we can renegotiate. Yeah.
So this contract is good
It's a
for
90-day exit clause.
Yeah.
90 days.
You can't do this just like you do feeding the prisoners so much per head per day.
You can do that. Yes, in the contract it says that over the ADP that you have, if you have any increase, we charge per inmate per day. but we don't base our entire contract on that. We set a contract with the sheriff. And we can go down in the ADP. This is just what he's decided. He's asked us to propose.
And if y'all wanna do that, we'll do that.
But
But
right now,
at some point in time, it's gonna go up.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Yeah,
but right now, you're trying to get more nursing staff,
yes, sir.
so the jailer's not putting
Yes,
out
sir.
medication.
Right.
Okay, anybody else?
We
on
don't
board?
have anybody in the jail trained to,
Take the medication right at the moment.
are qualified.
And some of our other facilities that house out for other counties, they charge up to $45 per inmate per day. So that's something the sheriff really can look at. If you have medical on site and they know that you have services and you're gonna provide a 24-hour call, they're gonna house at your facility and they're gonna send you the sicker ones, but that's what we're there for.
Okay. Yes, sir.
I did not ask, are y'all gonna be, if you are getting state parolees, and of course that wasn't what we looked at when we did the contract, but if you are getting state parolees, do you know whether or not the services y'all provide are adequate for the state now, or whether we got?
We have another facility that houses U.S. Marshals currently.
So you're good for federal and state? Does make a difference, thank you.
Okay, do we have any more questions at this time? Okay, thank y'all. Appreciate you coming. We got it on the agenda. I guess we'll take it up when we get down there.
Got it.
Thank y'all. Okay, let's see, we have from the rec department, Mr. Nibbler.
Give you a quick update of starting our football season. Sign up started tonight. It'll go through the month of August. Just finished up our state baseball and softball. We had one state championship and 3 third-place teams in the state. Got a men's softball league that's starting up. Trying to make sure I don't leave anything out. Everything is running smooth right now. Everything's good. Anybody got any questions?
Okay. Anybody on the board got a question? All right, and then we got something, I think, about a air conditioning unit. Is that be right?
Yeah, we got, you want to add to the agenda, or you want to go ahead with it now?
Y'all want this on the agenda, or can we deal with it now? What do you got, what's the board's pleasure?
He's here, let's do it.
Okay, we'll just take it down, it's okay.
Okay, we got 3 bids for, air conditioning unit. We need to replace one out of the rec department. One bid is from D&B AC and Mechanical Services for $5,500. One is from Pruitt for $4,898. And one is from Massengill for $4,800.
Okay. Y'all heard the 3 bids. Anybody on the commissioners have a question?
I want to assume that this stuff is apples to apples. However, on the Massengill bid, it doesn't say about connecting the ductwork that's there and the wiring, etc. I would think that goes without saying.
It does, and it's no ductwork, it's actually a heat pump, so it's a separated deal. It is apples to apples on the bids. It may not be broke down, may not have the verbiage the same, but it is the exact same units.
Because the Pruitt bid didn't mention the compressor, they mentioned parts and labor, but no compressor as a warranty on that.
Right.
Whereas the other 2 bids said the compressor, labor, and parts. They were, okay, so this is, all of them are the same?
Yes, ma'am.
5 year on the compressor, 5 year on the parts, 1 year on the labor.
Now the warranty, I'm not positive is exactly the same. I'm actually not positive about that. I'm just saying.
But the all of them are 4-ton heat pumps, yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
I see that, yeah.
Pruitt was the same. I called Pruitt and asked them, theirs was the same warranty, 1 year labor, 5 year parts.
Okay.
Okay. Anybody else on the board got a question? Can we get a motion to approve?
Mr. Bobby, is there any remaining money in SPOS? Is this what this request is from?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Can we get a motion to approve this?
We're approving the low bid.
Yes.
I'll make that motion.
Have a motion to approve the low bid. Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, I assume you're abstaining?
Please note I abstain.
All right.
Thank you.
It will be so noted. Thank you for coming.
Appreciate that.
And then we have John Clements from the Vice Chairman of the Airport Authority.
Only thing, happy, so he's not griping at me.
Right, I got you covered. Mr. Bobby's looked at that with Mr. Buddy. Well, you hadn't, Mr. Bobby did. I mean, Mr. Buddy did, I thought, but I may be wrong. We'll check on it though.
Appreciate it.
Anybody else on this? Okay. We'll go down to the approval of the minutes. If y'all will look at your July the 8th, the call meeting, do we have any additions, corrections, deletions to those minutes? Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Got a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Have a second, any discussion? All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, we'll go to the July 15th regular meeting. Do we have any additions, corrections, deletions to those minutes?
Make a motion to approve.
Have a motion to approve, do I have a second?
Second.
Got a second, any discussion? All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, we'll move down to the July 24th call meeting. Do we have any additions, corrections, deletions to those minutes?
Motion for approval.
Have a motion and a second. Have a motion to approve with a second. Do we have any discussion? All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, we'll go to old business under jail update. I think that was mentioned some, that it was operational. Mr. Bobby, you want to give us an update on anything on the jail?
I've talked to, had a conversation with Mr. Bob Hibbard, who is the senior project manager for Peter Brown Construction Company. And he's supposed to meet with us Wednesday at 1 o'clock to discuss how they're going to solve that leaking problem. He told me that Peter Brown was a national company that specialized in building jails, and they was going to certainly solve the problem of our jail here with it leaking. And so anybody that wants to meet with us, we'll meet at the jail 1 o'clock Friday.
Okay, thank you. No, Wednesday, isn't it?
Wednesday.
Wednesday, yeah, Wednesday at 1 o'clock. Okay, then we have the Sheriff's Department software. Should I ask when the sheriff is here? I think it's been ordered, but I really don't have an update. Do you have anything on the software? Okay. On appointments, we had tabled an appointment to the, Ms. Gale, who did we?
Board of Assessors.
Yeah, the Board of Assessors. Have the board had a chance to think about their appointment to the Board of Assessors, or do y'all?
I make a motion we appoint Mr. Madison, reappoint Mr. Madison Kirkley.
Okay, we have a nomination of Mr. Madison Kirkley. Do I have a second?
I second.
Have a second. Do we have any other appointments? Can we get a motion to approve the appointment by acclamation?
So moved.
Got a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
A second, any discussion? All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Hearing none. We'll move down to the splash. I know Mr. Bobby's been working on some of this. We'll probably talk about this and try to come up with maybe a couple of commissioners that want to work on putting the figures together so that we can all get together either through a work session or something. So we'll talk about that and try to set a time for that. Do we have any other old business that needs to come to the board? Okay, yes, sir. I'm sorry.
I would note that I believe the Okmulgee River Water Trail Partnership, we made an appointment, we made 2 appointments. We made 2 appointments to that position and 2 alternates, and one of the alternates didn't have time to do that, so I'd like to make a motion to table that at this time and have it on the agenda for next meeting.
Okay, that would be under appointments, and we'll do that. It's have a motion to table that. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second. No discussion on a table. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, it's unanimous. Okay, we'll go to new business. We have Mr. Frank Irwin here with the 2012 audit. I'll ask that you come up, Mr. Frank.
Good evening, y'all.
firm has completed the audit for the county for the year ending December 31, 2012. It's my understanding that y'all were provided a full copy of the audit report ahead of time. So I'm just going to kind of briefly go over a couple of things. On page 2 of the audit report, that's the independent auditor's report. This report covers the county as a whole, and that's all functions that fall up under this audit. It's an unqualified opinion, which is a good clean opinion. If you turn over to page 4, it's titled Statement of Net Assets. It's kind of like a balance sheet of the county. This is all the operations right here, and you can see a list of like the assets, list of the liabilities that the county has, which the county is in a lot better shape with the financially with the debt, because y'all been able to service the debt over the last 12 months and pay some of that down. If you turn over to page 8, this is a statement of revenues and expenditures for the county. If you look up under the first column headed general, that's over the general operations for the county. You can see the total revenues were about 8.3 million for that year. If you go down to the bottom of that column and come back up 4 numbers from the bottom, net change in fund balance at 488,000. What's that saying is the county, the revenues exceeded the expenditures for the county by 488,000 for the year, which left y'all with a positive equity. If you turn over to page 10, 11, and 12, that schedule right there compares the original adopted budget and also the final budget, which includes the revisions that y'all made during the year, compares that to the actual numbers for the general operations of the county. And then everything else starting behind that is either footnotes that give you further explanation or either additional schedules. So I didn't plan on going over those unless y'all have any questions. But that's all I was going to highlight. So I'll be glad to ask any questions y'all have.
Okay.
I've got some questions, but it's not for, I think it needs to be asked without.
Be glad to talk to any of y'all. You know, my office is open anytime y'all want to call if y'all have any questions.
I'll just do it that way.
Yep. Okay. Do y'all want to approve the audit tonight, or what's your pleasure? It's got to be turned in, you know, in a short order. Just I don't know what's the board's pleasure. You can still ask the questions later. I mean, it's not like.
I do have a question. You had mentioned about the 488,453 net change.
Yes, sir.
in fund balance. And I believe the year before, we actually were in a negative position. Is that correct on that?
Yes, sir. I believe
Now
that's
we have
correct.
moved into-
Yes.
So we made about $600-something thousand swing. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank
You know, on the books, financially, the county looks stronger than it did the prior 12 months. Yes, sir.
you. Thank you, sir.
Any other questions?
I don't have a question, but I appreciate all that. I studied it the weekend, and I'm learning this type of stuff. But yeah, our county does. This audit looks a lot better than last year's audit. A lot better.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to be of service.
What, like I said, I know we have to turn this in at a certain time with the state. Do you send it electronically for us to the state, or do we do that? I can't
You can
remember.
either mail a copy in or either scan it and send it in.
Okay,
Yes.
okay.
They had tried to make it mandatory to do it electronically, but it just, you know, a lot of counties and cities don't have scanners and with the capacity to scan this kind of paperwork at one time, so they kind of backed off that requirement.
Okay.
So, you know, mailing is still sufficient.
I would make a motion that we approve.
Okay. I have a motion on the floor that we approve the audit for 2012. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, I have a second. Do you have any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Being none, it's unanimous, so we can get that in the mail or whatever.
Thank y'all. I appreciate it.
Thank you. would, look on to the approval of the accounts payable. If you'll take a minute and look at that. And see if you have any questions on the accounts payable.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
On page 1, check number 13049, UGA 652.25. Could you tell us what that's for, Mr. Bobby?
That's part of the county agent and his, and one other person down there's retirement. They retired through the UGA in Athens, and we pay part of their retirement.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, anybody else on the board have another question? Okay. If you have a question later on, you're more than welcome to come by. I'm sure Mr. Bobby can tell you later on, but can we get a motion to go ahead and approve the accounts payable?
So moved.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, it's unanimous. We'll move down to the approval of the medical services contract for the sheriff, the new jail. Do we have any questions? Or does anybody want to make a motion that we'll go ahead and approve the contract?
Is that contract up at this time?
Contract actually expired December 13th. The original contract expired December 31st of 2012. They have been just going month to month since that time and continue to provide services. The reason they wanted to change the contract was, of course, it got moved. Everybody got moved to the jail because of water main breaking, and the company just basically said that we need to do it now or not.
Okay. Any other questions?
Based on this new contract, it looks like that, it's almost double per month. Of course, I guess we got double per inmates month per two, but, was it, did you say it was a 90-day contract, or how, is it a month deal?
There's a 90-day escape clause if you sign the contract. When you went beyond the term of your last contract, especially terminable at will by either party. But the terms of the contract is there's a 90-day escape clause.
Does that go both ways? They would also have to give us 90 days?
They do.
In other words, if we did nothing right now, we would still be covered for 90 days. That would give us time to see if we were going to increase our load,
Yes,
and then we could see about increasing the amount that we pay.
that's correct.
But that would not,
Currently,
do anything about the nursing, so increasing the nursing.
no. And that's gonna be a problem because the sheriff wants his deputies to not have to touch medications anymore. And they're probably not a problem right now, but as soon as it goes up, it's gonna be a problem. Because one nurse won't be able to handle 180, at least that's what they argue, that one nurse they have won't be able to handle that many by herself. This, by the way, does include on-call. I don't know if it says it on here, but it does, I'm sorry. And it is 7 days a week. I think right now they may not work on the weekends, which is why they had trouble with deputies having to provide medications, because there's nobody there on the weekend to do it, so deputies had to do it.
Okay, any more questions? Can we get a motion or some motion? Yes.
Let me mention this, if the jail is populated like the sheriff says he's trying to populate it, it's really not gonna be any more than it was last year because, or for this year, because this year's, or last year rather, last year's bill was over $100,000. So, if he gets 160 prisoners in there, say, it'll be about twice as many as we had over here, and it'll, in the invoice, the bill will be about twice as much, the contract will. So it's not gonna be, if he gets that number in there, you know.
Okay. Anybody want to make a motion?
Well, I believe we do need it for the nursing especially. We're kind of putting pressure on the sheriff to perform here, but I'll make a motion that we do it.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
I second.
Have a second. Do we have any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, it's unanimous. We'll go, do we have any other new business from the Board of Commissioners to come before the board? Okay. What about commissioner reports? Anybody been to a meeting that they want to bring up anything at this point in time?
I have something I'd like to. We've been talking about the Dodge County recycling project, and that is scheduled to start, and I have a little thing I'd like to read if you can bear with me for a few moments. Dodge County hauls approximately 11,000 tons of waste annually to the Houston County landfill that costs our taxpayers of over $600,000. In an effort to reduce the amount of recyclable materials sent to the landfill, save our natural resources and valuable landfill space, Dodge County Commissioners have voted to partner with the Lawrence County Solid Waste Management Authority in a single stream recycling program. This program will start August the 19th of this year. Initial locations are all of Dodge County schools, our transfer station located here in Eastman, and the man dumpster site in Chester. These sites will have a designated recycled dumpster which will be blue instead of the normal green dumpsters which hold non-recyclable materials. Acceptable items for the blue recycled dumpsters include newspapers, magazines, office papers, phone books, catalogs, junk mail, cardboard boxes, and please remove packing materials such as styrofoam, bubble wrap, tape, etc. Also food boxes, and please remove the food liners, shoe boxes, gift boxes, all types of these, aluminum cans, steel or tin cans, rinsed and clean. Also number 1 and number 2 plastics, rinsed and clean, and this is such as soda bottles, milk bottles, water bottles, laundry detergent bottles. Absolutely no glass. We're asking the citizens of Dodge County for your help. This program cannot be a success if it is abused. Placing glass or non-recyclable materials in these blue dumpsters can result in a whole truckload of recyclable materials being refused. So please only place acceptable items in the blue dumpsters. If you do not want to sort your materials, please continue to place your items in the green dumpsters as you have in the past. There's no change to how the green dumpsters will be utilized. We consider this program to be a work in progress, and we value your input. Please feel free to contact us and make suggestions for ways to improve the process. We've been working quite some time to put this program together and hope the citizens of Dodge County will support this effort. Thank you, Dodge County Commissioners.
Okay, thank you.
Any questions?
Okay. All right, anybody else got anything to report? We'll go to the county manager report. Mr. Bobby, pick up.
We are badly in need of a pickup truck down at the camp. We had to jump one because it was just worn slam out. The motor was gone, the transmission was gone. It was a 90-something model, and it wasn't worth repairing. And then we had somebody to hit one, and it's totaled. And it was, I think, a 1999 Dodge with almost 300,000 miles on it. So we need to buy a truck, and I had gotten 3 bids. One from Woody Folsom. These are Ford pickups with 4-wheel drive, regular work truck. Woody Folsom was $22,266. These are state contract prices. Brown Ford Motor Company, $22,106. And Brannon Motor Company for a Chevrolet Silverado, $24,950. And I would like for the board to consider approving the purchase of one of these trucks.
Thank you. Lowest bid was the Brannon Ford,
Brown Ford for
22 something.
22,106.
22,106.
They all, some of them quit.
Okay.
Mr. Bobby, which funds do we have available to pay for this truck out of?
We can pay for it with the T-Splosh fund. I mean, yeah, T-Splosh. Yeah. The discretionary part is the T-Splosh fund because it's for the road department.
Okay.
Okay, anybody else on the board? Got a question? Anybody want to make a motion?
Make a motion, we approve the purchase of the low bid Brandon Ford, $22,106.
Okay, I have a motion on the floor, do I have a second?
I second.
Okay, have a second, any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, we have a minute, we'll go around the room for public comments, and then we have an executive session to discuss some legal matters and personnel matters. So if, when we go into that, the board can't vote on anything in executive session. So once we come out of the executive session, there is a vote, which there may not be, we will do it at that time. So you're welcome, after we do the public comments, we'll do that. Start right here on the first row. Yes, sir.
Dan, if you look on the GSA program that we're on,
Right,
yeah, they got about 8 pickup trucks on it right now, less than 50,000 miles on it.
okay. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Anything else? Next row. All right, next row. Go ahead.
What about the white line on the line with Chester, East Highway?
Chester Highway is under it's under our T-Splash, but I'm not sure exactly what point we are on the T-Splash.
It'll be one of the first ones.
Yeah.
Probably in 2014, it'll be resurfaced completely from here to Chester, and it'll be striped.
Okay. Mr. Kenny Williams.
Well, I'm back again. Y'all were talking about that air conditioning earlier out here at the athletic field. If you will look into it, possibility, you can get a 10-year warranty directly from the manufacturer of your air conditioning unit that will cover everything in the unit. On that 5-year warranty, in most cases, that on that compressor, it prorated. It'll not. And also, you will have to pay for Freon and stuff like that after 1 year on the air conditioning. But if you look into it, which most of our air conditioning people do not want you to know about that 10-year warranty. Now, it will cost you, say, $300, $400 for 10 years. But if you break it down per month, and you have one compressor go out, it pay for labor, it pay for the compressor, it pay for the Freon. Man, you already got your money back.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate that. Mr. Niblin, I'm sure heard that. He'll check into it when as he can. We'll start on the back row. Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, I'm Susan Coffey. I've got 2 questions. Number one, Mr. Niblett, recyclables. Can we take those to the schools if that's all we're putting? I know that we're not supposed to dump trash or whatever, but is there going to be somewhere open on the weekends for us to take our recyclables?
I'm not sure if we can take it to the school. I mean, we would need to talk to Linda Dennis and see about that, but I feel like it would be. This is something
Okay.
that's not going to be, the recyclables are not nasty, they're not smelly, they're not anything like that, so we don't have a problem with that. And also I might mention that the paper, if it gets wet, that's not a problem either.
Okay. Secondly, I know you've approved the your health care, but I want to bring to your attention a new rule in the state of Georgia that is called proxy caregiving. Anyone who is taking care of a person, be they in a private home, a personal care home, or whatever, has to go through proxy caregiving training. And there are requirements that, like, they either have to have a high school diploma, a GED, they have to pass the TOEFL, and then there's about 5 pages of training that has to be done to those people for each person that they are going to be caring for. And I understand the state is coming down on this. They may not check jails, but if they do, you're talking about the price. I want to make you aware that they have to have a proxy caregiving training and then the form signed for every person they're looking after in order to give them medication. So that means 100 jail, jail inmates, 26 jailers, there will be that times 100 papers that will have to be signed. So that versus your nursing care, because then you still have to go through X number of hours. It's new for the state of Georgia, and I have been told by state surveyors that they're gonna start coming down on that. So if you wanna check it, it's with the proxy, it's proxy caregiving.
Thank you. Very, very interesting there. It's, must be some of the Affordable Health Care Act. Okay, anybody else on the back row? Okay, the next row. The first row? Okay. Thank y'all for coming. If you want to stay, that's fine. Can I get a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
I got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, it's unanimous. We'll consider ourselves in executive. Do we have any motions to come before the board of commissioners?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion and a second. Do we have any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, it's unanimous. We're adjourned. Thank y'all.